أهلا وسهلا.
Mabuhay.
欢迎。
Bem-vindo.
Welcome to Accent. We couldn't be more excited to be airing today the first international show produced at the University of Kansas. I'm Fernanda Silva.
And I'm Ekaterina Lisovskaya with today's news, events, and trends from all over the world.
Japan is going to resume visa-free travel for short-term visits. Travelers from the United States are among the list of visa-free countries.
Finland was crowned the happiest country in the world for the 5th consecutive year, with a score significantly ahead of its peers in the World Happiness Report 2022 ranking. The US, for reference, ranked 16th. The report uses global survey data to report on how people evaluate their own lives in more than 150 countries, with the ranking based on a 3-year average. Key variables that contribute to explaining people's life evaluations include gross domestic product per capita, healthy life expectancy, generosity, social support, freedom to make life choices, and perceptions of corruption.
From September to October 15th, the histories, cultures, and contributions of American citizens whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America are celebrated. Last week, the Student Union activities at KU joined the National Hispanic American Heritage Month commemoration with a night in South America. Emma Seville shows us all about it.
On Thursday night, Student Union activities held a night in South America.
So today we wanted to do an event to kind of celebrate the start of Hispanic Heritage Month. It's from September 15th to October 15th, and so we got some different foods and candies from different South American countries, and we made some little educational brochures just to kind of spread awareness that that's what this month is and give people an opportunity to try foods that may not normally be in their palate. So they're called papel picado, and they are usually made out of tissue paper, and a lot of people in Hispanic countries use them for significant holidays and traditions. One of the biggest ones they use them for is the Day of the Dead time of the year, the tradition for that, and they're just kind of something festive that they put up, and they're always really colorful and bright, and it just is a way that they celebrate their holidays. It's important to just let people know that there's a whole world out there, and you know, a lot of people who go to KU may have never experienced things like that and may not even know that it is Hispanic Heritage Month. So just kind of celebrating those people who have made lots of contributions to not only American society but like the world, and just knowing that they're out there too, and it's not all just like Starbucks and American people.
SUA holds a lot of cultural events here on campus, so be sure to follow them on Instagram at SUA Events for more details. Emma Seville, Accent.
Thank you, Emma. Unfortunately, there have been some unfortunate series of events around the globe. A 22-year-old woman, Mahsa Amini, has died in an Iranian hospital days after being detained by the regime's morality police for allegedly not complying with the country's hijab regulations. Across Iran, protests have sparked up, including women removing their headscarves at her funeral. 5 people have been killed by Iranian security forces during protests that were sparked by the death of Mahsa Amini.
Another 7.6 magnitude earthquake shook the west coast of Mexico on Monday, September 19th. Coincidentally, on the same day that 2 previous major quakes had rattled the country years before. Erin Borchers has more details on that and other global weather events.
Thank you. I'm Erin Borges here with a brief weather update. Some headlines for you all. We are going to talk about some tropical storms, typhoons, and hurricanes, and we're going to cover 2 earthquakes, one that happened in Taiwan and one that happened in Mexico. Typhoon NANMADOL was made a typhoon over on Monday, and it has currently killed 2 people. It made landfall in Kyushu's Kagoshima Prefecture, which is a southern island in Japan. It is one of the strongest storms Japan has seen in recent years, and it left 300,000 without power. The main concern right now is storm surge. Many areas saw 200 millimeters of rain, and some warnings are still in place. And Japan as a whole is expecting more rain, as you can see there. So it's not over yet. Authorities are most concerned about flooding and landslides associated with the storm and the additional rainfall, and that is why all the areas in yellow that you can see here are under advisories for that storm surge to keep people safe. So let's move on to Tropical Storm Gaston. It is swirling out in the Atlantic. Luckily, it's mostly away from land, but it could impact the Azores Islands. And the intensification that you can see here is right along this few areas of the storms, and that is where the storm is intensifying, but it is only going to intensify over the water and then dissipate. It's not going to affect land most likely. We are keeping an eye on another tropical wave that is expected to go over the Windward Islands, and we will see how that intensifies as well, because it is starting to be a very active hurricane season. And our current active hurricane that we have is Hurricane Fiona. It is currently a Category 4, and there have been 2 deaths associated with this hurricane. In the Dominican Republic, 400,000 homes have been left without power. And then as of Tuesday in Puerto Rico, 300,000 out of 1.47 million people had power restored, but water is still cut to 2/3 of the island. So Hurricane Fiona is going to keep on swirling there, and it's actually going to make its way towards Bermuda before heading further north with that storm track there. And I'm going to just quickly switch to that radar view so you can see it swirling, intensifying, still going towards Bermuda. It is traveling north, and it'll of course change path slightly over time, but right now Bermuda seems to be the only landmass that is going to be impacted from the storm, because it is still in the Atlantic Ocean otherwise. So let me go and move on to our earthquakes that we have to cover. There was an earthquake in Taiwan on Sunday. It had a 6.9 magnitude. It hit the Qisheng Township in rural southeast Taiwan, and there are warnings for tsunami waves and potential aftershocks. Right now, as I can tell, there have been no reports of deaths associated with that earthquake. And then the earthquake that happened in Mexico along the Pacific coast, there was a 7.6 magnitude. There is at least 1 person dead from that earthquake, just from the initial collapsing of buildings there. 7.6 magnitude on the Pacific coast of Mexico. And that is it for our international weather. So let me go ahead and switch to our current weather in Lawrence. It is going to be 60 degrees this Thursday morning, and the rain is slowly pittering out. And we can see as that kind of rain has moved through this morning, it's going to kind of move through some more. We still have a few lingering rain chances on Friday, but the rain is going to be mostly over. It's going to stay cloudy. It's going to stay cool. It's going to feel a lot like fall. And just a brief little look at that 7-day forecast. A little bit more chance of rain for Friday, but otherwise sunshine, a little bit warmer temperatures, but it's going to feel much nicer than it did earlier this week. Thank you so much for watching this weather update, and back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Erin, for the weather updates. Today we are joined with Win Chi for some information about Taiwan and its recent natural disaster, which is the earthquake. And what is the most recent update you've heard about the natural disaster?
I think the most recent one is that the earthquake happened on September 18th. Yeah, like just right after the Moon Festival. Yeah.
Yes. So do you have any family or friends that were affected by the earthquake, I mean?
Yeah, one of my friends, like he originally need to take the train back to Taipei. Like his hometown is in southeast Taiwan, and then because of the earthquake hit the train station, and then the train derailed, so they canceled the trains. And so he need to take the bus back to Taipei. So it would like double the time. Like originally would take 3 hours back to Taipei by train, but like by bus will be like 6 hours. So I think the transportation was like affected a lot.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate, because it's very common for natural disasters to affect the transportation routes of different countries, cities, and that is actually one of the most inconvenient effect of a earthquake.
Yeah.
And so what can we do to help, and do you know how can we extend our help to Taiwan? For instance, any online donating drive that we can support?
I believe the Red Cross can be the one. I think they are international and global. So, yeah, there's the only one now I know they will have the donation and the help to Taiwan. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. So we will you guys can donate through Red Cross, and you can just visit their website. And would you like to extend any message to your fellow compatriots?
Yeah, I think because Taiwan, people living in Taiwan, we experience a lot of earthquakes, so now we kind of know how to react after earthquake or other than natural disaster like typhoon. But yeah, I hope my friends and the people in Taiwan, they all can stay safe. And then, yeah, that's the short information message I will send to them.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, we hope all the Taiwanese citizens are safe, and we hope your family and friends are also safe and healthy despite the pandemic, the natural disasters that are currently happening. And we will be right back here in Accent for more global information, trends, and news.
National champions deserve a clean campus. Don't wait for other Jayhawks to pick up your mess. Keep the University of Kansas clean.
On Monday, after days of lying in state, the body of Queen Elizabeth II was buried. In the morning, it was placed at Westminster Hall in the heart of London. Later, it traveled to Westminster Abbey for a religious service, and then to Windsor Castle for a more intimate committal service, and in the evening, a private burial.
Here in Lawrence, the store Brits closed on the funeral day in honor of the Queen. I visited this local business and will show you more about it. After Queen Elizabeth II died on September 8th, some Lawrence residents found a place to mourn. The store Brits on Mass Street. They left a bouquet of flowers by the door of the shop that is inspired by England. Sally Helm, owner of the place, said that in 1997, a similar situation happened.
Princess Diana, when she died, we kind of became a big gathering spot. We've just put out a condolence book. We had one for Diana, and we have that open for people to come by and sign, and then we'll send it to the palace or wherever you're supposed to.
The UK's longest-serving monarch died at Balmoral at the age of 96. The Queen came to throne in 1952, and her reign was, quote, marked by her strong sense of duty and her determination to dedicate her life to her throne and to her people, end quote, as BBC wrote on her obituary. A big symbol of Elizabeth's reign were her corgis. Elizabeth II had more than 30 of them. Most recently, Her Majesty owned 2 corgis and a dorgie, a mix of her favorite breed and the winter dogs. Buckingham Palace has more than 700 rooms, but these adorable dogs would sleep with the Queen. Here, Brits, of course, they have an amazing collection of them that includes stuffed corgis, socks, mugs, and even an adorable pizza cutter. Sally said that after the Queen's death, the store had more people coming in. Now she wonders if King Charles III, the new monarch, is going to be as popular as his mother.
We've definitely had an uptick in customers, and a lot of people have said it's their first time in. We've always had a Queen section. She's always been popular. I have a feeling that maybe he's not going to be quite the same, but we're going to still have a Queen section because she will forever be popular.
Brits was opened in 1995. The idea was to bring to Lawrence British everyday things that you couldn't find here. Known as a British tradition, the custom of drinking tea in the afternoon was established in the 19th century.
Therefore, it comes as no surprise the fact that the teas are a very popular item at Brits.
We love the tea selection here. It's always fun to look around and such, but primarily it's the wonderful tea selection that's available.
We come often because they have a few products that we can't find elsewhere. They have certain British brands of tea that we really like. I also like to look at their cups. They have a lot of nice porcelain from England and linen towels.
Reporting for Accent, I'm Fernanda Silva.
Brits is located on 929 Mass Street, Lawrence. For more information, go to their website, www.britsusa.com.
Walking alone in a college town can be dangerous, no matter the time of day. Lawrence might seem like a small town, but there is still tons of crime that happens. You never know where and or when people are planning to attack, so it is better to be safe than sorry. Being by yourself is never the answer. That's why people should always walk within a buddy system. Having at least 3 people to walk with can help with getting home safer. Going out in a bigger group is definitely the way to go, so everyone can be assured they are safe. If walking home isn't an option, calling KU Safe Ride is the next best option, or ordering an Uber with your friends. Stay safe and always keep a buddy with you.
From adversity, we rose. We made history and became pioneers, voyagers, champions, Jayhawks. And when our chant rises, haunting and hallowed, Jayhawks are telling the world what's near. Victory.
Welcome back to Accent. Now it's time to learn more about other countries. Japan is known to have the world's highest life expectancy. In 2019, there were 2.31 million Japanese over the age of 90, with over 71,000 of them being over 100. There is a word in Danish and Norwegian that describes a mood of coziness and comfortable conviviality with feelings of wellness and contentment, hygge. In essence, hygge means creating a warm atmosphere and creating the good things in life with good people. The warm glow of candlelight is hygge. Cozying up with a loved one for a movie, that's hygge too. And then there's nothing more hygge than sitting around with friends and family discussing the big and small things in life. Perhaps hygge explains why the Danes are some of the happiest people in the world. I think we could all learn a little something from that. Denmark has more interesting facts. If you turn 25 and are unmarried, not only do you have to face Valentine's Day alone, but you also must endure your friends and family throwing cinnamon at you. This long-standing tradition in Denmark is customary if a man or woman turns 25 and is still single. First, they get splashed with water, and then they get covered from head to toe in cinnamon. It's not a form of punishment, but more just an excuse to be silly with friends and family, and it's a tradition that dates back hundreds of years. I think we should do something like that. There's another tradition that involves throwing stuff at people. The Carnival of Ivrea is a festival in the northern Italian city of Ivrea, which includes a tradition of throwing oranges between organized groups known as Battle of the Oranges. It is the largest food fight in Italy and surrounding countries. And lastly, unlike in the US, tipping in South Korea is not customary. People believe that providing a good service is expected without any additional incentives. And similarly, people do not expect to receive tips for their work. That's all for today, Jayhawks. We hope you had fun exploring the world with us one day at a time. We'll see you next week for more current news, events, and trends around the world.
Paalam.
Ma'assalama.
Ciao. 再见。